fellow Biafrans, lovers of freedom across the world, wherever you are watching this program from. I welcome you and I appreciate you for being part of this very platform. Please, if you have not subscribed on this channel, kindly subscribe, like and share the program to other platforms. Make sure you click your notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. In this platform, you know what we do. We do not preach hate speech. We do not instigate violence. The only thing we do here is to preach freedom, to encourage the Biafran people, to speak to the world and tell the world the true situation of things in Biafra land. This platform where you are watching this program is representing the Biafra Republic of Exile, a platform under the command of our Prime Minister Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on the Supreme Command of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We will continue to speak the truth, nothing but the truth. If you are a lover of freedom, if you are a lover of the truth, it does not matter your tribe, your religion, your location. You are going to enjoy your stay here and we welcome you. But if you are one of those who doesn't want the truth and you don't want people to get their freedom, you will not enjoy your stay. Let us watch together and see what this brother has to say.
Barrister Adams, let me come to you. In your intro, you said something about, you always made reference to extradition of Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya. As a legal practitioner, I want you to make sense of it to Nigerians. What is the difference between extradition and rendition? Because from my layman's knowledge, I think they are two different things.
Now, extradition is one, when you have a synergy between two countries, first of all, like Kenya and Nigeria should have, a pact or treaty that if a criminal from Kenya enters Nigeria and we, the Kenya people, need that particular criminal and face trial in Kenya, that we will contact your government. You understand the point now? Following your local laws here, perfect it, and take that particular person, down to Kenya for us. Extraordinary rendition is this. You didn't follow those protocols. You didn't, contact the AG of the Federation of Kenya. You did not even contact maybe the DSS of that particular country. Then you now entered that Kenya with mercenaries to now begin to track that criminal, Nigerian criminal as we call him. Then you got him somewhere and abducted him, just like kidnapping.
Okay.
That was why you see in the Marudiko affair, what happened was this. The British government, if they had a pact with Nigeria or treaty with Nigeria for repatriation of criminals, etc., extraditing criminals between both countries, what would have happened is that Marudiko wouldn't have been put in a crate and brought to Nigeria. What would have happened is that the British government would have, worked in synergy with Nigeria, track Marudiko with their police, whatever, and bring him down to Nigeria here.
So that's what I wanted us to establish, so that people out there will understand that Nnamdi Kanu was not extradited, that he was rendition, which is an illegality. Which is an illegality, and the courts in Nigeria have said
so because they didn't follow that particular procedure.
That said, I also like to, as a lawyer, I want you to tell Nigerians, is it proper for Nnamdi Kanu to be in the custody of the DSS, or should he be remanded in a correctional facility?
Good. That's a very wonderful question. Now, do you know that the Nigerian state for which we belong, there's what we call the Constitution of Nigeria. Lawyers refer to the Constitution as the font et origo, that is the source and origin of all our happenings and laws that we have today.
The ground norm.
The ground norm. Now, the moment a suspect is brought before the court make pronouncement and say, let this man be in custody. The court has to make that pronouncement, say, prison custody, or let him remain at the police custody. But it's very rare in situations where I've seen in practice, where courts will say the man or the suspect be remanded in the custody of his accusers. It's very rare. I've never seen that for a very wide period of time. But it does happen. I'm not saying it does not happen. But the normal thing, the normal is that Nnamdi Kanu, in my own, and legal take, would have been in the correctional center. And we have been wondering, and we hope that this hazard will be cured by the lower court that is about to begin the trial. Because Justice Binta Yanko, that was trying this particular matter, the lawyers of Nnamdi Kanu raised this particular point, that you cannot submit and surrender the suspect to his accusers. Rather, the suspect, the court, having made this pronouncement a proclamation that the proper place that he should be kept in custody and cared for is the correctional center. For instance, in the correctional center, he has access to his family, he has access to his lawyers, he has access to the kind of food he wants to eat, he has access to interact with other prisoners, the people in the custody, whatever the case may be. He also has access to good medical care that is, verifiable.
So why is this still kept at DSS?
That is what I wanted.
That is the problem.
Barrister Asif, first you have established that it was extraordinary rendition to Nigeria, which is an illegality.
Yes.
Now, the DSS is also keeping him against the orders of the court.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That is what we are saying. If you listen to my
which is another illegality.
Illegality.
On top of an illegality.
If you listen to my opening statement, I said that I believe and I hope that this court, the lower court, that the matter has been referred for, trial, if they begin that particular trial, that particular judge will make an order immediately that we call consequential order and say, look, if I will start this matter, please, this man should be taken to custody in the correctional center for him to have proper care. And the DSS, a gulag that he is, he does not have access to his lawyers. Under international conventions of people detained, people's rights, both the United Nations and African Charter, of which Nigeria is a treaty and signatory to that particular treaty, that all prisoners, all people that are remanded, what needs to be done is that they should be treated with care. They should be treated as if they are human beings. The only thing denied them is freedom of movement, as the case may be. So that detention at the gulag of the DSS is an illegal one for me. In my own take.
So, Barrister, one last thing before we move on. Do you see Nnamdi Kanu as a criminal or as a political prisoner?
Nnamdi Kanu, in my own, take, is not a criminal. Nnamdi Kanu is not a criminal, I repeat. Nnamdi Kanu is exercising and expressing his rights. Our constitution, even though I know that under section 2 sub 3 says that Nigeria should become an indissoluble and indissoluble entity, for me, I don't understand what that means. You can't force people to come together. But since it is there and it has not been tinkered with or maybe amended, as case may be, it becomes the law. But it does not preclude me from having my expression. For instance, section 39, 40, etc. as case may be, I have the right, the freedom of expression. Under section 35, 26, liberty, etc. as case may be. Then to add, like I normally say, Maggi in the soup, you now have the conventions, treaties that Nigeria entered into by virtue of our constitution. They signed those treaties on human and people's rights to assert and say, we want to be like this. We want this to be. I don't think I want to be part of this country. I believe that the Biafra nation should be. Let it be carved out. Can a referendum be done? And which he has been clamoring for. He has said, IPOB has said, we are not using force. It is a referendum that we are asking for. And who are those who conduct the referendum? They said the referendum is not in our constitution. But I find an aberration and sickening that we don't have a referendum, but under section 68, damn the constitution of Nigeria, you have a referendum to recall a senator, you have a referendum to recall a House of Reps member, you have a referendum to recall a House of Assembly member of your state if they are not performing well. why is there no clause or section that calls for referendum that Nigerians can sit down peacefully, civilly, and ask the National Assembly to say, do a referendum so that we can decide the Yoruba nation, the Bohos of this world can go their way peacefully, the Biafrans of this world can go their way peacefully, the Edo people of this world can go their own way peacefully. But I have found out, treading back to what and the issues you raised, why there was differences in release here and there was no release here, it is because of our constitution, which was intentionally mad and cajoled, with landmines and lacunae that people can come in and look at. For instance, let me tell you Section 10 of the Nigerian Constitution, why we're having this problem and why we're saying that Nigeria is not a nation of itself. It's not a nation, an entity. It's a country, like I will describe, as a geographical expression, but not a nation state. You understand? We don't have those in Section 10. Constitution says that Nigeria shall be a secular state, that no state shall prefer or prefer religion. But is that true? It is not true. If it is true, why do we have Sharia? Why is it that Kano House of Assembly can make laws for the governance of the state through Sharia government? Why do we have Sharia courts that do what now? Are they not going to determine issues of offenses, criminal etc. in the Sharia courts of law and justice? And you say that is a country of one nation? No. Why do we have in the northern part the Criminal Procedure Code, and in the southern part we have Criminal Procedure Act? And let me tell you, Nigerians today, that the reason why a man like Wadume, a terrorist, a kidnapper, and a man that was adjudged by court to be a killer, even killing policemen on uniform, army men on uniform, was taken to court, sentenced, and within 2 days he's out of whatever I say, he has served his sentence. Today is a chief in his place because the Criminal Procedure Code of the northern part allows that kind of a thing. But in the southern part, where the Criminal Procedure Act, if Wadume were to come from here, what is the difference between himself and that kidnapper Evans that is still in detention? See the prison custody today. What is the difference? Is it not what they did? Even as it is, Evans is not even murder or did one or two things. The reason why now the Kanu might not get, look at all these things we're talking about, these niceties we're trying to paint situations here. The reason why he might not, be out of prison for a very long time is because of this dichotomy of CPC and CPA. And they are using that to hold down, Nnamdi Kanu in detention, and it's so sad for me. Okay. I do not want to go further than that. Let me not use time. All right,
Dr. Yes. DG, we also saw the Major General Onima Nwachukwu writing to ICC and Amnesty International about the happenings of IPOB, and he was of the opinion that the whole thing that the IPOB team has been committing in the Southeast should be looked into by the international body. Do you think that this is going to, work in any way against IPOB, given the fact that, from what Barrister Asim said, Nigeria itself has in so many ways also, default according to the International Court of Conduct?
Well, first, if I can add to what the barrister said, whereby the penal code and criminal try to see how some people in the north are being treated while it is south. For me, if I take the south identity itself, then I will look at it that even in the south, it depends on where you come from. I think it's beyond north-south. Because even if you look at it in the south itself, just the kind of like exclude the north, just look at it only in the south, you will see that differences. The preferential treatment is also there.
Can you please just hold on to your thoughts? Right, thank you very much. We welcome you back to the program. Doctor, you may proceed with your train of thoughts now.
Okay, so as I was saying that, looking at the penal code and the criminal code, that even in the south itself, let us imagine that Nigeria is only made of the southern part of Nigeria, which is the south-south, the southeast, and the southeast, and the southwest. That the kind of discrimination is even apparent, because if you look at Sunday Igboho, he's from the south, and Nnamdi Kanu is from the south. Their case has been treated differently. this man that established Oduduwa University, right? That was alleged to have been involved in ritualism and killing, right? Look at the way his case was being treated. The Nigerian government kind of handled it, and somebody like, I'm trying to remember this man now. If you look at the likes of Clifford Oji, some of them are that they were kind of like in detention for so long. So I think it's beyond a north-south thing, because even in the south itself, that particular injustice it kind of exists, whereby if you are from a particular tribe, the way you will be treated will be kind of like quite different. And for me as a political scientist, you cannot rule out the political hand in all this. And maybe if the Southeast are being fairly treated in the political arena, that they are being given that fair chance to also occupy the number one seat of the country, just maybe we could have more fairness. Because how do you justify it to me that the South, the Niger Delta, right, comprising of the oil producing states, which are mainly in the South, that the South geopolitical zone, we have 6 states, right? And the Southeast, we have 5 states, whereas Bayelsa is a very small state. Are you saying that you cannot look at Enugu, Anambra, Imo, and all these states and carve out a state out of it to make sure that there's that balance, that it is 666, across board? So if you look at the inadequate political representation at the topmost level of the country, we can also adduce some of these injustices to it. Now, the international community that you raised about, one thing that I have come to see over time is, let's be sincere with ourselves. If we want to be realistic, you see, the corporate existence of Nigeria as it is now, the Nigerian government, the political cabal, the ruling elite, they really don't respect anything within Nigeria. Let's be realistic with ourselves, right? But one of the things they respect is that comes from beyond Nigeria, especially from the West, So when clamor begins to come from there, Nigerian government begins to kind of like sit tight, begins to kind of like adjust. And that is why I believe that when you are clamoring for something like Biafra, right, it has to be more of an intellectual clamor than, if I can use the word, noise making, in the sense that you are coming to people to come and ask for something, and 101% that these people, they will not give you. So if you have lots of security guards, and I can't even get to your doorstep, and I'm clamoring, what is the essence of that clamor when I know that I cannot get what I want? So I believe that this Biafra agitation, let me tell you, the simple truth is, clamor from now till tomorrow. The Nigerian state will only harass you, will only intimidate you, will only kind of like humiliate you. But when your fight, when it is being fought intelligently, and your voice began to be heard right from abroad, for instance, what gave the Niger Delta a voice? When Isaac Adakaboro, when he went violent and he declared an independent state from Nigeria, the Nigerian state imprisoned him. During Biafra, they brought him out to fight on the part of Nigerian state, and after that, because they couldn't return him to prison, he died under mysterious, unexplainable circumstances. But look at when Sarowiwa came, the reason why the world began to know and the injustice now became like of global knowledge was because he took that fight from Nigeria, he took it to the international scene, he took it to all this global civil society, all this international organization, and he expounded it. And the injustice of the injustice being perpetrated on the people of the Niger Delta was now being brought, and when it was made known internationally, it became obvious. So I would kind of like advocate a bit for a change of strategy, whereby the advocacy for Biafra, take it to the international scene. Let it be more of that international advocacy, whereby the injustice being perpetrated to the people of the
the Southeast, which I believe that there's an injustice. And if I'm to limit myself to being a political scientist, I'll just tell you that why would the Southeast, I don't see any reason now why the Southeast we have 5 states. That is one of the injustices. So begin to take it to the international front where you can get a bit of more result, because on the local front, they will only intimidate you, they will only suppress you, and at the end of the day, the Nigerian state doesn't even respect court order.
Thank you.
Unfortunately.
Barrister, let me come to you just Dr. Deji talked about in the international community how we can play around the international community. And I want to ask you this question. In response to Nigerian Army's call, to the ICC and Amnesty International to investigate or whatever about Simon Ekpa, activities of IPOB in the Southeast. In response to that, Simon Ekpa also said that he has compiled that 5-page summary, of the inhumanity of the Nigerian army against the people of the Southeast, unarmed civilians and in the Southeast. Yes. Considering the fact that Simon Ekpa is a non-state actor as we know it now, and the treaty that established the ICC, he is not a state party, he is not a state signatory to it. Is there a possibility that the ICC will listen to Simon Ekpa and act on his submission to the ICC, if he ever does that?
I don't think, I'm not a political scientist or a student of international law, but what I'm trying to say today is conjectural. That is, it's like a guesswork. Now, but from articles I've read, I observed that the Simon Ekpa or whoever, or even Nnamdi Kanu or whatever the case may be, may not be held by the United Nations, whatever the case may be, or even the ICC, because they deal with nations, if I'm correct. Now, it's only a nation that can do that. Now, who are those to propagate, or maybe let the world know about the cry of Biafra? Like, if you know, I am from the south part of Nigeria, and Ken Sarowa, which you mentioned rightly just now, did not on his own go out to international bodies just like that. It was some countries that had sympathy with Niger Delta, like the Canadian government that propagated, the idea of, the oil and whatever in the Ogoni land. And when Canada and some other countries came, they propagated and sensitized, the rest of the world to the suffering and the subjugation of the Niger Delta people. And that was how the United Nations listened to them, because those particular bills were sponsored by nations that were in sympathy, with that. Now, under International Convention on Code, now, you know why it's going to be very difficult for nations to begin to say they support openly, the struggle in the Biafra land, as the case may be. The moment you do that, the Nigerian nation or government will see you as an enemy state that is trying to interfere in its internal affairs. And if you know what is the codes in the United Nations, the conventions they have, they talk about sovereignty and suzerainty. You understand? Sovereignty and suzerainty. So what they agree is, among the Magna Carta things that they agree by all nations who are signatory to the UN body, that you cannot interfere. You shall not. It's a shall. That is, you must not interfere in the internal affairs of a nation state to protect their sovereignty and their sovereignty, as the case may be. So it will be difficult for this South America now to begin to come and directly, support the people of Biafra or any other secessionist group in Nigeria here. Because they will see that
as a concept of responsibility to protect, in the case of genocide.
Yes, that is it. You have to prove it.
Against humanity is
and you have to prove it. And I'm very happy that a political scientist is here. How do you prove it? Do you know how you're going to prove it? If you go there without having a voice and a collection of nations who are going to echo and propagate that your idea, they might not listen to you. The politics in the international arena, we all know, even though I am not a player, but we know the politics that is going on there.
All right, then.
So if he has to,
you have something
yes,
to...
Yes, what I want to say is, you see, this issue of Ken Sarowiwa was what my doctoral thesis was on, right? So if the Southeast people, this is not interstate something that you want America to come and be advocating for. No. but there are global people society. Like I was trying to Google it, but I couldn't quickly lay my hands on it. There was one particular global civil society that was prominent at that time that Ken Saro-Wiwa ran to.
In Greenhouse also.
You know, no, not Greenhouse, international something, people's rights, something like that. There was one international civil society that Ken Saro-Wiwa ran to and presented his case. There were this, Ken Saro-Wiwa used money to make international publications. For instance, if people of the Southeast are making publication in, for instance, New York Times, do you know the impact of New York Times? If you make a publication in New York Times, it gets to where it is supposed to get to. And that global civil societies, when they saw the level of rights, which he mentioned that responsibility to protect, it is a right under the social contract theory. When you submitted some of your rights to another right, that is one. Two, if you take the landmass of Bayelsa State, if you take the landmass of other states in the country, and you take it as a matter of right to advocate against the injustices in the Southwest. If you take the case of Sunday Igboho and you take the case of Nnamdi Kanu and you make a comparative analysis of it and present it before some of these rights civil societies, you will make a significant progress if your argument resonates with them. If it is very clear. For instance, Ken Saro-Wiwa was able to prove the substandard modus operandi of Shell in US, UK, the Netherlands, and their operations in the Niger Delta, particularly Ogoniland. It was evidence. It was pictorial. You know, it was quite evidence. So this international civil society, I'm not talking of that. Maybe you think that, okay, you want Biafra and America will support you. No. The truth is that as a student of history, as a social scientist and political scientist, the corporate existence of Nigeria now, as it is, if you roll back to imperialism, slave trade, colonialism, and now bring it down to neocolonialism, you will see that the corporate existence of Nigeria now is what the West, the Western countries, the United States, the United Kingdom, and their allies, it is what they like. The corporate existence, if it splits, there are some things that Nigeria is tolerating in terms of treaties, in terms of, you know, all this agreement that Biafra as a country will not tolerate. That so Yoruba nation may tolerate it, but Biafra may tolerate it. So they will not.
The difference, I'm sorry, with you.
So it is by civil society advocacy.
What has said is not that and true.
The country,
but the difference, in a second, yes, the difference between the Biafra struggle and the Niger Delta struggle is one. The Niger Delta struggle was on economic, whatever. So the international community bought into it. Environmental Rights Watch, you understand the point? And they came into it because believing that they were talking about environmental degradation and remediation of an environment, not succession. Okay. You understand? So anybody can, come in and intervene. Holland, ETC will come in and intervene immediately now because it has to do with the environment. But when it talks about succession, that is what you say, you want to break away from a particular, part of the country. That for them, they see it as war declared on them. The government do not see it. Even Abacha, you see the way it dealt with Saro-Wiwa, even when those people were intervening. So talk less, if they said they wanted to secede. Ogoni never said they wanted to leave Nigeria. They only said our environment should be remediated and let them have peace as case may be. But
right, so
there are two different.
We're absolutely out of time.
Okay.
We would have loved to. I would have loved you to respond if you can, maybe in about a minute. I hate to draw this comparison, but I'm forced to do it. Comparison between NKO Abiola, who was in detention from 90 to 98 when he passed on, and Nnamdi Kanu, who's been in detention from 2001 or thereabouts.
2015.
From when he was
when he came back to 2001. Okay. Yes. Oh yes. Okay.
Till now, it's almost the same number of years, almost the same number of years in detention. Do you think this government, this Nigerian government now, will make a martyr out of him? And if they do, how will that impact the struggle of IPOB in the southeast?
The truth is,
in 2 minutes. Please.
Okay. Nigerian government is good at making people heroes. For instance, if you are kind of like advocating for something that in saner climes, that the way you'll be handled, they will make a hero out of you. they will look at the basis of your argument and see what they can do. But Nigerian government will make a very great hero out of you. For instance, Nigerian government is making Sowore an hero. You know, every government usually have his own hero. If you look at it now, they are gradually making Sowore a hero. They are making an hero out of it. So Nigerian government, for me, they are good at making hero. But the truth is that if anything happens to Nnamdi Kanu,
now he's completely off.
yes, just as MP Abiola, that under mysterious circumstances, you know that what doused that tension of that MP Abiola was the Obasanjo era, whereby the military boys brought in, and the 1999 election was between Yoruba and Yoruba. So either which way, Yoruba will become president. And as it is now, do the people in the corporate existence of Nigeria, are they willing to allow that? Whereby if anything happens to Nnamdi Kanu that is advocating for Biafra, can you make, maybe during an election, it will be an all-Igbo candidate? The truth is no. So if anything eventually happens to this man, you would have strengthened, you would have fueled, you would have energized, you would have made a monster out of what is supposed to be an agitation. That agitation can be addressed in such a way that when you are preaching Biafra to an Igbo man, he won't even want to listen to.
I thank you for listening. Please share this program to all platforms. Share to family and friends. Reach out to anybody you can reach out to, so that we can be able to fight this battle to a winning. I appreciate you. Thank you for being part of the program, and stay blessed. Biafra government, peace, progress, unity and equity. We move. Airborne.